Hello, hello. We're here for
Mhm.
another exciting conversation this week. Today, I'm with Jenny Rice.
Right.
Jenny and I met on LinkedIn, which I love that platform. I
Mm.
do so much of my work on LinkedIn, and Jenny crossed my path, and we started talking online, and then we had some conversations. And I thought she would be a great person to bring forward, not only for my community Together We Seek, but any entrepreneur that's really looking to get out in new ways in 2024. So, Jenny, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you and your listeners too.
Well, as we know, you are a great course creator. You've helped Fortune 500 companies, all types of organizations, nonprofits, healers, and many others create courses. But before we jump into that, I know you have a passion for healing. I know you have a passion for holistic work. Tell us a little bit about your own personal journey.
Absolutely. It started with, believe it or not, I joined the Navy with mono way
Oh,
back,
wow.
which is crazy because and I didn't tell them. If I told them, they would have said, you can't come because it's contagious. But the week before, I couldn't climb up the stairs. The week after, I was running 2.5 miles up a mountain. So it really put a drain on my body. I ended up very sick for several years. Doctors didn't know what I wanted. And they finally told me that I had chronic fatigue syndrome. And the doctor literally told me, he said, "You will never be a contributing member to society. You will never really work full time." And I told him where to stuff it. And I said, "I want to
Yeah.
run a marathon." And he said one day, and he says, "No, you'll be lucky really if you can get a job." And it sort of started me on my own health journey saying, how can I heal myself since the doctor said it's unhealable? And I did run the New York Marathon several years later. So I was very proud of myself to do that. And have since been on a healing journey for my body, my soul, my spirit, because I really believe that we're in charge of our own healing, and we don't give our power away to the doctors.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm so glad you're here with us today, and I can understand why you have a passion then for this type of healing.
Absolutely. And it is so important to do that because I really believe the cause of illness is a lot of underneath is blocked emotions that we need to work on versus just healing the symptoms, right?
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly that it's blocked emotions. I obviously now have a community of energy practitioners and healers and light workers, and most of them have gone through their own journey before they've become a healer or a contributor to light for others.
Absolutely. And I really believe in ways your mess becomes your message because what we go through, and then we can help other people heal with the same things. And I'm a certified EFT practitioner. I've done the UN method, Sedona method, Psyche, whole bunch of different healing. I registered for the course for the emotion code. I'm really excited about taking that. So it's all about the continuous journey of self healing and the awareness that we have of ourself, that we can heal and then inspire to heal others too, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that. Your mess is your message. And I think that tees us up perfectly for the work that you do because I feel like so many have a course or have been thinking about a course, but so few actually get it going. And I know for myself, I have two courses in my head that I want to get going, but it's just overwhelming. So, what do you love about course development? And then we'll talk about how you think this could help healers.
Absolutely. I love taking material that might not be exciting and making it engaging and interesting. I find that really jazzes me. That's something in my spirit that I really love doing is taking something information and making it transformational. I truly believe that people are not buying information, they're buying transformation. And there's so much information out there, whether you're doing a search or whatever, but it's really about, what do I do with that information? How do I apply it? How do I transform my life to do something differently? That to me, where the rubber hits the road, that to me, where it really makes a difference. And when you talk about healers and holistic people, this is really where they can make an impact because now they're helping other people achieve the growth, the transformation that they're trying to help their clients do, right?
Mm, I love that, the transformation. I know, I host retreats and obviously write books, and I feel like that's really what I always try to reach for is how do I get them leaving differently than when they showed up, whether they just take a strategy, they decide to do something new in their schedule, or they decide to leave something behind.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. It's really important. Have you heard the concept of Hell Island and Heaven Island, JJ?
No, tell me,
So
please.
Hell Island is where your clients are now. So they're suffering. Let's say you're a hypnotherapist dealing with insomnia patients, right? So they're on Hell Island. They can't sleep well. They go to bed feeling tired. They wake up not feeling refreshed. They're anxious about it. They wake up in the middle of the night, et cetera, right? And Heaven Island is where they want to be, where they're going to sleep knowing they have tools in their toolkit. They wake up feeling refreshed. They know they don't sleep well every night, but they know that they have the mechanisms to help them with it. And how they get from Hell Island to Heaven Island is the practitioner, is you, right?
Mm.
But the key thing here is when we're looking at online programs or really any services, people are not buying the boat. They're buying the transformation they're going to get when they get to Heaven Island. So that's the key thing messaging I work with a lot of my clients is that don't try to create a super yacht if a sailboat will get them there. So many people want to put so much information into a program, they end up overwhelming versus over delivering. So that's a key message I think is really important.
Overwhelming, and I am notorious for that because I have so much I wanna share all the time that I'm like, I just wanna get every nugget in, and in fact, when I wrote my first book, I remember doing the first few keynotes on the book, and I literally tried to tell them everything that was in the book, and I remember looking across the room, and people looked exhausted.
Probably so, yes.
It
Yep.
was a good lesson for me is just carve out a little bit because really 3 to 5 points in an hour, especially for what I do, is really all they can hold on to.
Yeah, well, what I do with my clients is I say, "What does heaven look like? Heaven Island look like? Let's establish that where you want them to be, and then we build the boat around that." So we look at what are the outcomes, what are the objectives we want to do with that, and then the essentially the boat creates itself because then we're looking at what do we want them to accomplish and achieve, transform, versus just trying to put things in the boat before we realize what we really want them to transform to, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know a lot of people, including myself, that have created an online course and have never sold it. No one's ever bought it. So, what are your just thoughts around that statement?
Well, it's interesting. So a lot of clients, what happens is that they either try to replace their course with their current practice, and that's not the right answer. It's almost like you want to expand your impact with a course, right? A lot of people they work with people one on one, and what a course really does is you're working one to many, meaning that you're not doing the one on one anymore. They can do the online portion. We call that asynchronous, where they work it on their own pace. They look at that, and then maybe they have a cohort or a group they meet up on Fridays at 10 o'clock to do that, let's say, as a group corridor an evergreen program. So the difference is that we're not trying to market replacement of our services. We're trying to market to an additional offer with that. And then when you look at it from that perspective, it becomes much easier to help people find your course, find your program, and really make an impact.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think for a lot of people, they're so focused on content and what to share when. And I feel like you're kind of expanding that even farther to be like, let's be on the journey. Let's help people get on your journey and move through your journey. Because I think another big challenge with courses is people don't finish them.
Yes. Well, that's where it's really key for me, and I'm an adult learning principle expert, so I know how adults learn, right? So what's key there is there's little tricks and tips you can do to put in your course to make it transformational, to make it engaging, to make them retain things. And they're simple things. They're not complicated, but people just don't know how to do it. And they bombard people with information, and that's where they get overloaded and they don't finish the course. So
Mm,
I know a lot of people say, well, you can develop a course in a weekend. And I go, no, not if it's transformational. You really need to look at the content to making sure, again, they're reaching and moving towards Heaven Island.
that makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about how can a course help practitioners, healers, holistic individuals? How can a course help them?
Well, what's great about this is that, again, is you're increasing your revenue stream by adding an additional offer. So let's say you're talking to a client and they say, I don't have time to meet with you, or I don't have the budget to meet with you. Well, then I have another offer. I have this course that I can give you. And I like to do with clients 3 tiers where they do a sort of a do it yourself, meaning that it's a standalone program and it's a lower ticket price. Then there's the middle tier, tier two, where they work with groups, right? And so you can offer that to your clients. So again, and then you can do where you have the course and individual work. It's a higher, price point. And the good thing about that is then all of a sudden you have 3 different offers you can offer your client, which becomes much more appealing, whether it's posted on your website or whether it's, you do it through networking events, however you want to promote your services, you have multiple offers now, which increases your potential to make a bigger impact, but also increase your revenue too.
Yeah, and free up some time.
Absolutely. What I find, we call that the flip classroom, where you take your teaching content and you put it online, and people really benefit from that because what they're doing is they're saying, I can learn at my own pace when I want to learn. I'm a night person, I can do 11 p.m., or I'm a 5 a.m. person, versus I have to show up at 10 o'clock for you to teach me the concepts. They can play it again and again, so it frees up the practitioner, the healer's time. I don't have to explain it every time. Let's say I'm a tapper, I can do a tapping video on exactly how to tap, so I don't have to explain it in my live session or my one-on-one session. It reduces so much time.
That's a great point too, is creating something that is like a pre-listen, a pre-watch before either coming to a session or joining a live group session is get some of that pre-work done.
Absolutely. That's where the flipped classroom comes in, where you're teaching the concepts beforehand, and then the classroom is where the class is where you're asking your questions, you're integrating, you're applying it, you're sharing your ahas and insights, and it becomes so much more richer because it's not all just about teach, listen. It's about sharing and group work and things like that.
Hmm. I like that. I like that. So, what do you think are some of the common obstacles when you're thinking about people you've worked with? Either that there's probably two sets of people. One that just call you or sit down with you or discuss, like, hey, I want to do a course, right? So, maybe not their obstacles necessarily, because those are ones that maybe don't really get into action, but basically they're already in with you. They've decided they want to do a course, but what are some common obstacles you have to work through with your
Yeah.
clients?
I'd say 95% wanna build the boat before they establish what Hell Island and Heaven Island looks like. They know their content, which is great, but they haven't really established what are they suffering from now, and what does my solution offer? So they're really clear. We call those learning outcomes or learning objectives, what we want them to accomplish at the end of the course. If you don't have that, it's almost like you're building a house without a blueprint. You're kinda going, "Well, let's put a room here, let's put a bathroom there," without really thinking about what it should look like beforehand. So a lot of people I sit with and I say, "Is this really important for them to reach Heaven Island?" If they say no, then I say, "Take it out." So a lot of times we're
Mm.
ending up taking out stuff and making sure that the content that is in there is really applicable and is really gonna help them get to Heaven Island.
I love that. I love that. And then what is the pricing? Because I feel like I've struggled with that so much about pricing. Do you help coach them on pricing or is that a personal thing?
Absolutely help with pricing when we look at that. It really depends on the value that you're offering. So I heard Russell Brunson say once, he said, I have a phone and I could sell it for you for $10,000. And people go, well, I wouldn't buy a phone for $10,000. Well, if you saw all my contacts in there, if you saw all the people that I could one click dial in, right, it would be worth $10,000, right? So it's the value that you're offering them versus exactly what they're getting. So people will pay a lot of money for that transformation that they're looking for. So that's where the key thing is, what are they going to achieve? What are they going to transform? And then the value of that comes in there. And I believe in higher ticket pricing with groups and things like that because people are much more engaged if they're paying more money to do it. Ends up being a win-win because they're more engaged, they learn more, they experience more, and the healer, the practitioner gets more money and revenue, right? So it's a win-win all around.
I love that. I love that. And I guess, is there anything new on the horizon for courses? Obviously, AI has hit the scene and people can create content so easily, but also we're at the intersection where I think people are inundated with content. So, what do you see as sort of on the horizon right now for courses and what's shifting for you and some of your, customers in the middle of this creating courses?
Yes, there's a couple of things. AI is great for helping things. I use AI uh, extensively in looking at rewording things, being clear on different things, writing bios, writing learning objectives. Even I had some of my clients go there and practice doing that. It's great for generating ideas. It's really good about that. So that's a really added benefit. You can decrease your time span from creating a course because it helps you with your content. You can put in your content there and put together a lesson plan. So there's really good things about that. I find that delivery platforms are so much more. well enhanced now than they were before. I use a platform that's amazing because it's got great funnels, it's got a great delivery system, it's unique, it's much more visual. So there's a lot more technology that's coming out to support that. There's even some platforms that do experience based, where they you get a ding if you finish it, and like an award or reward, that it helps inspire people to complete and engage them more. So there's a lot more technology that's out there to help people do that much easier.
And are you seeing an uptick in people having too much content?
You mean too much content before they develop the course? Yeah,
No, I mean, people have too many things that are pulling for their attention, and they're not really leaning into courses like they used to, or are courses on the rise?
I think courses are on the rise. I read some Forbes predictions. I think it was 380 billion by 2030. The learning, online platforms, knowledge-based information is going to be. So if you get a little piece of that pie, why not, right? And what's really great, what's happening, JJ, now is that you don't need to be a world expert on this. You just have to have your own perspective, your own message, your own aspect of it, and then people resonate with you and who you are and the message and the content that you have to offer. So I think people are
Mm.
really looking for it and they love the online piece of it. That's one of the benefits of the pandemic right now. I call that the Netflix effect, where people are looking for content online. They want to stream, they want to have accessibility virtually and remotely. So that's a real benefit for the online programs. People are looking for that content.
I love this. I love this. Well, I'm definitely inspired, and I feel like this is a right time for more practitioners to really think about courses. Obviously, I'm working on my own course to help people get published and noticed with their book because it is so hard these days to get published. There's an inundation of books out there, and it's not only is it difficult to find a publisher, but it's difficult even if you do find a publisher. How do you get your book noticed? And so that's something that I'm working on, which is why I was so excited to meet you and work through this. And I think for many of us, it's hard to carve out the time. I think time is for especially people that are entrepreneurs like us,
Hmm.
that have so much going on, but we're still trying to create more value and deliver more transformation for the people that work with us. So, what advice would you give people listening to this to get started so that when they start 2014, they can be going down this path?
Yeah, what's really exciting about this is that it does take effort to put it in there, but once you've done it, it's done. Meaning that, hey, I don't need to meet with every client for 3 hours to explain my technique. I've got it online now. I can do that. So it ends up such a time saver over time because you're now giving that option to people. And what's really even more of a benefit is you're saying, here's an additional benefit you're going to get from working with me. You're going to get an online program in addition to working with me, let's say one on one. So it ends up becoming even a sweeter offer and a better package that you're offering because you're doing a different modality, a different medium that you're delivering your information to. And people love that. They love that I have lifetime access to your material. And if you add more, you've got it. So it ends up being a real benefit all around.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm pretty excited about this. I feel like it's on my horizon, and I'm sure that people that find this is probably on their horizon too. I think so many of us have so much information in our heads and in emails and blogs, and some of us have books that it's great to really move that in a different direction for people to receive it in a different way. And I really love the idea of group coaching or even using courses to be a precursor to something that you're already offering. So,
Yes.
for those of you that want to get in contact with you, what is the best way?
Well, we can give them information for them to contact me, and what I do and offer with people is I help them through the process, so they think through they're not alone, because I really believe it takes a village in a way to develop a course. So it's one of those where if you're doing it on your own, you spin a lot. You're like, where do
Mm.
I go here? How do I go there? How do we take a plan? So I have an approach. It's sort of like a roadmap to getting you to the online course, because a lot of people try to do it on their own. They just don't get how learning objective works. They don't understand, what a design outline looks like. So this is where it's really value to work with somebody else, whether it's me or somebody else, really giving a coach a guide to helping you through creating a transformational course. And I really believe that success of courses is because the content is successful. And so the only way the path to success is creating an impactful transformational course.
I love that. And I think it will save people, as you said, so much time is making sure that they have the right transformation and the content to back it up.
Yes, and what I offer too, JJ, if anybody does wanna work with me, mine's a done for you solution. I have a team of 9 people, and we do everything else besides the content. You're the content expert, but we do everything else. So you don't have to worry about uploading to platforms or formatting slides and things like that. So that's a real benefit to do that too. It frees up your time to focus on what you know best is your topic, your expertise.
That sounds amazing. And just for those of that people that are may already have a training platform that they're using, can you work with them too?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I love this. I love this. I'm so excited that we connected online. I feel like this is just one of those endeavors that so many entrepreneurs think about, but they don't really create the time to move down this path. And I think having somebody that has 20 years like yourself, that is used to creating transformations, can really create an on ramp for many people that want to share their wisdom, but don't know where to get started.
Absolutely, and it's so much fun, JJ. I love what I do. I love helping other people be creative, and do fun things. It's so much fun when you create your logo, when you do your colors, when you do your slides, and you see it come alive. It's such a rewarding experience in itself.
Well, I'm excited because I have one on mine that I'm going to start working on here, and I'm excited for the transformation of getting more people published. That's so exciting, and then getting their book in the world in a meaningful way. So I know we'll be talking, but for those of you that want to reach out to Jenny Rice, the contact information is below, and you can always connect with her through togetherweseek.online, where we have so many awesome energy practitioners that are doing amazing work to lift and raise the energy of the planet. So
Isn't that
thank you, Jenny, so much for joining us.
yeah, isn't that amazing how people are making an impact with what they have to offer? They have a gift to give, and they're helping other people, and that to me is such a big reward. I go to bed at night feeling good that I've made a difference in the day, right?
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too. I
awesome.
agree. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
JJ, it's been a really I've loved it. It's been great. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure. All right. With that, we'll see you again next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.